Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up today, and let me just be completely honest. I was so nervous to get on here. Like I'm kind of shaking right now because it's been a while since I hosted a Zoom. So I'm so happy to see you guys on here. Take it easy on me because it's been a while. But we're gonna be talking about building relationships and closing sales. And of course, just like anything else that we talk about, on the weekly Zooms, this is something that's so big. So we're gonna try to break it up into segments, and hopefully you guys can take something out of it. So I wanted to start off by talking about being authentic, being you, because I feel like in this field, there's so many people that you can look up to, but don't try to be like them. You have your own story, and you kind of have your own spark that you bring into this business. One thing that I absolutely love is that we're not the type of business of, hey, copy and paste this. Hey, you have to post this. Hey, you have to talk about this. Lavelle gives us the freedom to really talk about whatever we want to talk about. We can talk about the energy, the mood support, the weight management. We don't have to tell our story a certain way. It's really all up to us. So I think just being really authentic, being creative, thinking outside the box and trying to do things that other people don't do. Another thing is, your story. We all start for different reasons. And I'm sure, we've heard this a million times. Your story is so powerful. Never stop sharing your story. And whether you believe it or not, so many people are watching. I know sometimes in the beginning, it's kind of tough because you feel like no one's watching. You feel like, no one cares, but there's going to be one day when someone reaches out with a post and says, this spoke to me, like I needed to hear this today. How can I get started type of thing. So don't get so down on yourself. Don't think that your story's, not as good as so-and-so's story. Your story is still valid and important. So you need to keep putting it out there. I want to talk about also, sorry, I'm going off of my notes because I'm so scatterbrained all the time. Stop chasing people. I know that sounds weird because it's like this, like we have to recruit and we have to find new people to sign up, but really don't get so caught up in that. This is something that I had to tell my team because I'm like, if you get so caught up in, oh my goodness, I didn't sign anybody up today. Oh my goodness, I haven't got a promoter in a week. It is going to drain you to the point where you don't want to do this anymore. So again, going back to being authentic, when you're sharing your story authentically, people are going to come to you. I want to give you guys kind of a backstory. In the beginning of this year, it was really hard for me to come back into promoting because I did not want to show my face on camera. I was not happy, so I didn't want to pretend to be happy on camera. I told my husband, I'm like, I don't even know if I should do this anymore. Like, my job is to connect with people, and I don't even want to pick up my phone and respond to a text message right now. But I got on a call with Dana, and I'm never going to forget this. She told me, it's okay to kind of reinvent your story and kind of share this new journey that you're going through. So I kind of used that as a mechanism to heal. And I was telling Courtney too, the amount of people that I'm reaching out to is insane. And these are a completely group of people, like friends that I didn't even know I had on Facebook. So again, just keep sharing, keep being authentic. It's good to post the good stuff up there too. And I told my team this on our team Zoom on Tuesday. Don't be afraid to put your bad days up there too. Be somebody who is relatable. Not everybody is perfect. Not everybody is put together all the time. We have, excuse my language, shitty days sometimes. And it's okay to show that. I would have cringed at the thought of me getting on a live a year ago and bawling my eyes out. But now it's normal. Like, it's okay for me to show that emotion. And I feel like my audience appreciates it because we're human. Like, don't forget that we're human. No one's perfect, all of that. So when you're authentic and you're posting in an authentic way, people will come to you. People who are truly interested will come to you. So don't get so caught up in chasing. I want to talk about deep conversations. I know that this is kind of scary, but I feel like this is something that you have to branch out and try. So we all know the typical famous line, oh, hey, Sally, what beach did you go to? Those are awesome starting out, but don't be afraid to ask Sally, like, hey, Sally, like, what are your dreams? Like, do you have any goals that you're working towards right now? Like, there's not many people in this world that you can have really deep heart-to-heart conversations with. And I learned this because I've made some new friends. But people will appreciate that so much. The fact that you are actually taking the time to get to know what their dreams or hopes or aspirations are is going to mean the world to them. So don't be afraid to ask things like that. What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are you passionate about? What makes you happy? Little things like that. Really get to know them, because that's truly building a relationship. no offense to the whole, what beach is that? Like, that's cool, but you want to get deeper with them. So I really challenge you to ask questions like that. Or maybe you can even target your post to where you open the floor up for people to share in the comments, things like that. And then again, this is kind of with building relationships and like posting. One thing that I always try to do is I always try to be motivational. I always try to be inspirational. I'll share some kind of positivity thing in the morning. And then I'll be kind of like funny and silly. Like I'll put little silly posts up. I challenge you to kind of try to stick to that. I know it's like there's a lot of stuff going on in the world between the pandemic and the election that we had and the vaccine. Don't get so caught up in that. Like I feel like we are all so tired of seeing that. I would rather see a motivational post telling me, hey, have a freaking good day today, instead of like opening up my comment section for people to fight. Like I just don't see the point in that. So I really challenge you to try to do that too. With the funny and silly stuff, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I meant to talk about this in the beginning, was like branding. People, like, put yourself out there. Let people know who you are. People know that I like the gym. I love my dogs. I am obsessed with hot Cheetos. So I can't tell you how many times in the day people would tag me on like memes about hot Cheetos. Like make little funny posts that people will laugh at because they know that it's you. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I'm going to pass it over to Carly now because I know Carly's going to have some bomb points. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself now.
Okay, so I have a whole lot of like points I want to make, but I want to touch on some things that Jocelyn said. So her and I are very similar. We're having a very similar journey right now in the sense of like reinventing our story. I love that. Like, I love how Dana told you that. But I used to be, I would guess you would say, Miss Perfect on Facebook. I did everything right. Literally, I did everything right in my life. And I loved to talk about it on Facebook. I woke up early before my kids. I did this and I did that. And I didn't have bad days. And then here comes my bad days. And I was so scared that I was going to lose my audience. I was so scared. How the heck am I supposed to connect with people? I'm supposed to be a thriver. And then I realized, like, this is what is special, is that I can connect with people more now, because yes, I'm a thriver, but I'm also a thriver who has bad days, and Thrive is really helping me get through it. And so while I'm talking to people who are posting sad things, who I can tell are going through stuff, I used to not be able to relate to that. I was very harsh. I was very, why don't you just get up and do it? Why don't you just read a self-development book and get over it? Like that. And now I can relate to people. And so I have written down right here the 3 steps to building a relationship. Number 1, be authentic, be yourself. It is completely okay if you are having a very high season in your life and you're doing everything right. And then boom, you wake up one morning and you're hit with a low, and you take your Thrive and it got you out of bed, but you still feel terrible. It's okay to post about it. And like, I love how Jocelyn said, be inspirational, because there is inspiration in knowing that you're having a bad day, knowing that your depression is hitting you, but being able to overcome that. And a lot of people can relate to bad days. So it's okay to not be perfect. Just be yourself. Just be authentic. So when I am building relationships with people, when I'm RCMing, I never ever focus on the transition. I never focus on bringing up Thrive. I am strictly wanting to get to know this person. I want them to get to know me. I want them to say my name and know I can message that girl and she's going to be there for me. I want them to say she has never once tried to sell me her product, because I don't want anyone to ever say I tried to sell them a product. And so like, all of my customers will tell you that too. They can come to me and tell me why they have to turn their auto ship off, and I'm completely okay. And I'm still going to talk to them 2 or 3 times a week, because that's not what it's about. So a lot of people sign up and they see other people grow really fast, and they're like, well, what's going on? I'm making all these posts and I'm showing how good I feel, but where's the relationship building? And then when you start RCMing people, you start with Sally at the beach. You start, hey girl, where'd you get those earrings? But you don't get deeper. You're like, okay, well, I messaged 100 people today. What the heck's going on? Why hasn't anybody bought from me? And I think when you adjust your mindset from when is someone going to buy Thrive from me to I can't wait till this person absolutely trusts me to buy Thrive. Like, I love that when I am constantly building a relationship with somebody and they come to me and they're like, all right, girl, I trust you. Tell me what I need. You tell me exactly what I need to order and I'm going to go order it right now. And I love that. To me, that is such a big win than just a random stranger reaching out. Like, I worked for this person. They trust me. They know me, and they're not going to jump ship either. They're not going to go to another promoter who has a better deal. They're going to stay with me because I took the time to get to know them. And so this kind of ties in with everything, is just like to be relatable. So when they're talking to you, Feel Felt Found is still my favorite to this day. Courtney told me that when I was in my VIP period, and I still use it in every single conversation I have. I somehow, some way throw in Feel Felt or Found. So if they're talking about the price, they're talking about, even if they're talking about, just like how terrible of days that they're having, right? You're going to relate to them. You're going to say, I totally know how you feel. I felt that way. Then I found Thrive. Or, you don't even have to bring up Thrive. You can just say, I don't go through that anymore. I do this, this, and this. And you just share your healthy habits now. And somewhere along the way, it's going to get brought up. But if you focus on the transition, for me personally, it throws me off. It makes me feel fake. It makes me feel like I'm not being authentic and building a relationship with that person. And I just can't do it. So do not focus on that. And I used to think, the biggest thing is so funny to me now, as I used to think that if you would just RCM all day long, that the more RCMs you did, the better chances you had of just getting a sale. So not true. You might boost your algorithms. You might get a whole lot of Facebook likes, but it's not people you're building a genuine connection with. They might think they're probably looking at your post like, I can't be her, because they don't know you. They don't know you at all. So I like to now choose 5 to 10 people a week that I'm going to really focus on. And it's crazy because they're going to start popping up at the top of your page. So literally you're checking in on this person every day. They're posting stories. You're going to learn their kids' names. You're going to learn about them, what they do in their daily life. And you're going to get to know them. And so like you can move on from those 5 to 10 people the next week, and you could start on some new ones. But in your brain, you are going to have their names like burned into your brain, because you just focused a solid week onto these people that you're going to remember to check in on them, and they're going to remember that. So it's just kind of like checking on your auto ship customers. If you have auto ship customers that you check in with every single month, you have a list going. I have a list going of people who I want to make a connection with, right? And like I said, you don't want to focus on when are they going to buy. You just want to focus on when are you going to really feel that connection with them. So your post, you want to make your post relatable. You want people to look at your post and say like, me too. You want them to say like, I can talk to her, not that you're this scary Thrive girl that's just like vomiting energy all over everybody. Like, you want to be relatable. So it goes back to what Jocelyn was talking about, your brand. So like, for me, I post funny stuff. I share funny stuff. And like, I don't typically do it a whole lot. So when I do, people just think it's hilarious, and they feel like they can relate to me more, because I'm not Miss Perfect. I'm not Thrive all the time. I have a personality, and people can relate to that. So all of this is going to work in building connections because you're a real person. And that's what it kind of boils down to, is you're not a salesman. None of us are salesmen. We're definitely not car salesmen. Like, we're not trying to reel people in. We're not trying to fake a relationship just to get them to buy and then jump ship. That's not what we're doing here. We really want people to trust us and have lifelong customers, because that's how you create residual income, is you have lifelong customers. Let me read my scribble real quick. Oh, okay. Something I think we all need to hear is it's okay to delete people off your Facebook. It is okay to delete people you don't relate to. If you keep seeing this person on your Facebook and you're like, I need to RCM them. I've never talked to them, but you can't find a single thing to RCM them about, you don't relate to them. Move on. You can delete them. So a lot of people are RCMing people who you don't relate to. They don't relate to you. Like, hold on, let me read what she just said. Yeah, I did plan this last night when I was drinking a daiquiri. So it's okay to delete people if you don't relate to them. I have people come to me all the time talking about, I'm RCM and I've literally RCM all day long, or they'll even take my advice and they'll choose 10 people or whatever, but they're just not relating. It's okay. And when you start this business, some people take off fast and some people don't. And it really just depends on your audience. So if your audience is not responding to you, they're not engaging with you, go find a new one. And so there's like deep, dark depths of your friends list that you have no idea about, that you literally don't even know these people are on your friends list. Go through them, go talk to them, and don't bring up Thrive. Just throw yourself in a conversation. It might seem weird at first. It might seem like you literally just randomly message this person and you're like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that shirt? I shop on Shein all the time. And like, you would think that like it's bad quality, but it's actually not. I really love it. Like, just start a conversation, and they might think you're weird. They might be like, what the heck? But at least they are not thinking, okay, this B word's trying to sell me some products, you know, like you're literally just starting a conversation with them. So don't be afraid to do that. Literally just jump right in. Let's see. I think, patience. I wrote that down in big capital letters. Yeah, Facebook cleanups are important. I go through my friends list at least once a day. So a lot of people get on their Facebook and they're just going to scroll down their timeline looking for people to RCM. For me, that does not work for me. The same people show up on my timeline. No matter how many different people I talk to, the same people show up on my timeline. I go to my friends list and I find people to talk to, and I delete people like crazy. If there's something I scroll 2 weeks down and I cannot find something to relate to them to, I'm going to delete them and I'm going to move on and find somebody else to relate to. So I think that kind of wraps up what I want to talk to you guys about week 1. I hope that like when you get off this Zoom and you go to your friends list and you go to your Facebook, like you go about this a different way, because it really is just all about your mindset. People can sense when you are non-genuine. They can sense when you are literally just trying to find a way in the conversation to bring up Thrive. People can sense when you actually care about them. So go through your friends list, find people you relate to, make yourself relatable. You're not a robot and you're not a salesman. Just be you. Court, if you have anything you want to add or wrap that up.
No, I mean, I think that was a great place to start. I know if you guys have any questions in here, I can give you guys a minute to ask questions of them. Not that they can answer right now, but what are some things you want to learn about these subjects moving forward? What are some things that you struggle with when it comes to building relationships and closing a sale? What are some things you guys want to know about so that they know exactly how to best serve you moving forward? I'm sure that they can come up with a bunch of content, but if you guys have something specific around this subject, definitely let them know in the chat section right here. What are some subjects you want them to cover, or what are some ways, if any, that you want to learn about? If not, then we can just go ahead and close it out. Maybe some of you guys need to think about it. If you do come up with something, maybe tag them in the Thrive Army chat and just kind of let them know, hey, I was thinking about this. I would love it if you guys kind of covered this at some point in time.
Yeah, I would love if y'all did that just randomly if you think of something, because we're not only talking about building relationships, we're going to go into how you use relationships to close the deal. So if you have any questions, specific examples of how, like a specific scenario, how do I close this deal, like anything like that, just throw it in Thrive Army, tag me and Jocelyn, and we'll address it.
Perfect. All right, guys, thanks for hopping on. Thank you guys for hosting.
All right, bye. Y'all have a good Friday.